Hello, hello. I will not ask for all your names. I'm just telling you that I'm Matej, coming from Slovenia, on the invitation of your colleague Dasha, who is my co-worker. Actually, I'm coming from the company Saubermacher Outsourcing. I have a Bachelor of Arts in economics, so I did not study logistics, which I will talk today, but I have quite a lot of experience in this because I was somehow all the time connected in my 20 years with logistics, and I'm since 2 years, 2.5, 3, almost 3 years, also a lecturer for internal logistics at the Faculty of Transport and Logistics in Maribor. Small, but I think I know what I'm talking about. So internal logistics will be also kind of a topic today, but I somehow imagined that we start like that we are in the universe, looking at the universe, and then we go deeper and deeper. And then we will go to some small details which are maybe interesting for you to understand really a small part connected to logistics. Yeah. So what do you know about logistics? Do you know where logistics is actually coming from? Who invented logistics? Did you ever ask yourself about this? No. You will be. Pardon?
Greece in the history?
Yeah, the term is coming from Greece, exactly. But the logistics as we know it today, so moving stuff, the perfection of moving stuff, somebody else invented it.
Is automotive also logistics?
This one, yeah, very good. This one made it perfect, but the invention of logistics is actually was done by military, because it was very important to move stuff, to move equipment, to move people also, and to feed them, to move food in the right way, in the right amount, to the right place, because they had to survive. Literally survive. So military was the one who invented the perfect logistics. Yeah, it was then developed and came to a peak during automotive in Japan. Toyota, Mr. Toyota started to really develop it to the point that we know it today. So, and this is why we will talk and go into small details also there. How important is logistics? What do you think? Would we survive without it? Nope. If you remember this one, it's just 4 years ago. We don't feel it anymore. What was it called? This ship.
It's Evergreen.
Evergreen, thank you, exactly. So it completely changed the world, almost completely changed the world in Europe. Why? Because before that, the ships were able to cross here, and then it needed to go around. Everything, all the stuff that is coming from Asia, which is quite a lot, had to go around. Okay, whatever you would say. Just it came to the point at the end. Yeah, but it took 2 weeks more. Okay, 2 weeks, whatever. No, it made a big effect in the production. Mainly, like I said, the automotive industry. Yes, exactly. Because the logistics and automotive started with this approach of the logistics to be a prolonged warehouse, actually, is such tacted that these 2 weeks made a huge effect on the production. So a lot of producers were not able to produce. So people were not able to buy. Suppliers got quite big fines, even though it was not their fault. So a lot of money was burned. So a lot of trouble. So many people were highly motivated to solve this. So they somehow tried to help. If we take a look how much stuff is all the time, okay, also 4 years ago, moved around the world, you can imagine that we have plenty of chances to get similar pictures soon. But most probably it will not happen that soon. Why? Because companies are many companies, producing companies, these are the ones who need stuff. Yeah? Companies who are providing services are not relying on logistics that much. But they learned a little bit, but not that much. But for the smaller ways, not over the ocean, this is the distribution over the world with ships, they somehow managed to implement safety stock. And safety stock is one of the terms that logistics, that is inside of the logistics. If we take a look at the plane traffic, because also a lot of stuff is moving in the air, it's even more complex. So logistics is very important in our life, even if you don't see it. Everything that is moving is actually logistics. And now we will go a little bit deeper for few smaller details. You remember for sure also this guy. This one completely ruined our life, but not in the terms, let's look only in the terms of logistics, because everything was damaged at the time. Why? Because simple things like containers, overseas containers were missing. In China, they did not produce as much as, for example, in China, because a lot of stuff is coming from China to the world. They did not produce as much as it was produced in the rest of the world, and vice versa. So, ergo, they were missing these boxes to transport things. So what happened? They were stuck somewhere, and waited. And the effect of this was a dramatic increase of the cost of a transport over the sea. So from 1,000 to 2,000 euro up to almost $10,000 per transport. The tenth of the costs that it was before. So again, a big effect on everybody, because the producing companies who need to pay the transport from A to B, they just handed over the cost to us, more or less. Where did you feel this? If you remember, everything that is connected to high-tech, so everything electronic. This was the biggest bottleneck at that time. Chips were like gold at that time. And you see, something small, really like a container, caused by something else, is putting an effect on the whole world, on every single human being in the world. So logistics is really, really, really important, because this new logistics is now affecting everybody, literally everybody. Before it was just the military, and then the development of this brought some advantages, lots of advantages, because the warehouses would not be that full anytime, because in the supply chain it was running smooth, it's okay. But then we feel it if a small stone comes into the gear. What else happened at that time? Because everybody needed to stay at home, they bought a lot of stuff via the internet. So a complete mess happened in the parcel service. This is the small deliveries in the parcel service. Lots of stuff was not found anymore. So, or it was broken, or it did not came on time, and the quality of this service dramatically dropped. So this was the picture. These were the pictures at that time in the parcel service. Okay, so that's the important of logistics. Just a few words. There are a lot of terms, a lot of stuff, which is in the logistics itself. What we will focus today is mainly so companies that are producing, so stuff that is related to this, internal logistics, and what I will focus on is warehousing, everything connected to warehouse, but we will go through. So, okay, maybe just one word about that is really important and changed during the history of humans. Supply chain. What is a supply chain? It's a chain where something is produced or is grown up until its final product. And this is the main topic in logistics. It was not invented by automotive or any other branch in the world. It was always there. It was always something had to be grown. It was then supplied somewhere, and then a product was made out of it, distributed, and somebody bought it. The new logistic, the new supply chain is adding much more. Why? Because it has this big effect on all of the people. So it had to include not only the shipping and the storage, like it would be usual, but also customer relations. This became extremely important because if I don't get something, like we said before, I will be angry. So the relations between customer and somebody that is producing or selling became extremely important. What else? The producers and the companies who are supplying and providing logistics services also took care about the infrastructure. So they invested in order to become faster, to become more efficient, even though infrastructure is something that everybody say this is up to the state. So why should I care? So now private companies are building complete terminals, complete ports, like example from China, just to be faster, just to speed up the process of supplying. Staff was always also in the supply chain, but today, mainly because of the demographical development, it became even more important. Yeah, we can automate everything, almost everything, but humans has to be somewhere. The parcel service that I showed you before, Amazon is always, if you hear Amazon is the one who, yeah, we have everything automated. This is going smooth through. No, it's not the true. 99% is done by work, by hand, by humans, still, mainly in Asia. So it's not that, because every package is also different to the other one. There are machine reading that is going through, but it's still faster, still today. What came also in is cash flow. Why? It's really important if you have a lot of stuff constantly moving around the world, waiting to come to the end, but you are still also waiting for the cash. So this became a main topic at the circle of the supply chain management, to manage also the cash flow. The 2 weeks when the ship was stuck there, also the cash had to wait. So a lot of companies had to struggle also because of this, because they did not get the cash on time, because they could not sell. So this is the new way which implemented automotive, and developed, all the rest of the world developed it to this final stage. And now we can, it's up to the taste if it is better now, or if it was better before, to somehow have source locally or semi-locally. Globalization actually would not be possible without supply chain, without logistics. Logistics enabled the globalization. This and the development of the IT possibilities that we have. Okay, and now we will go a little bit deeper into one of the many topics of logistics, which is internal logistics. What do you understand behind this term, internal logistics?
Department in the company?
Exactly, yeah. What kind of companies this would be, mainly?
Transportation.
Yeah, these are companies that are focused to supply the service of the logistics. Internal logistics is mainly important for companies that are producing, because they're moving stuff. Yeah, there's also logistics in companies that are providing services, but not that important as if I have to bring stuff in, produce something out of this, and bring finished products out. So internal logistics is exactly this. Something is going in, where what happens there? It's easier. Well, it sounds easy. Something has to be unloaded and prepared, put away into the warehouse. And here we start, warehouse. We will have also a warehouse at the end. That's why we will talk a little bit about the warehouse afterwards. But why do we put something into the warehouse when it comes in? It could go directly to the production.
Due to serial numbers and people first in, first out.
This is actually a reaction on the fact that we have a warehouse. Why we have to do this? Because exactly, yeah, because of the not really perfect reliance of the supply of the stuff, and because of the amount that is delivered. Complete truck delivers 66 pallets. This is the maximum. We cannot use it completely immediately, so we have to store it. That's why warehouses are existing still at the beginning and at the end. So what starts then is the distribution. We have to pick the material and distribute it to the production. Inside of the production, we also are talking about internal movements. Between machines, we have semi-finished products that we move from one to the other, but also all these conveyors or chains or elevators. This is all moving. This is all related to internal logistics. As soon as we have then a finished product, it goes again to the warehouse. Why do we need a warehouse there? After the production? Yeah, we have to take the inventory, yeah, but because we are producing all the time, but the customers are not buying all the time at the same speed. So that's why warehouses of finished products are existing. It looks simple, but that's the explanation behind. And what happens there? And also safety stock, yeah? Because we are supplying, same reason. We are supplying to somebody else, to retailers who would like to all the time sell. If something happens, we have something, or the producing company has something to cover the losses in between. What happens there is, at some point, we collect a shipping out of several different products, and the process behind is called picking and preparing a shipment, and then it goes out. So that's it. This is the main process in the internal logistics. But a lot is happening there. So let's go a little bit deeper into the warehouse. Actually, yeah, I think it's one of the more interesting parts in the internal logistics. So that's why I took it. You saw warehouses, yeah, they are looking mainly like this. Inside, I think you imagine a warehouse like this, racks and pallets. But it can be very sophisticated, yeah. Also racks in a building with pallets, but this is one example of fully automated warehouse, where high frequency of moving stuff is happening. Value-added services are happening, packaging, casing, all this stuff we will talk a little bit later. But this is also a warehouse. It depends on the kind of material we are storing. Special warehouses are needed for liquids, for stuff that is in form of powder, grain, sand, cement, whatever. These are all warehouses. Even this is a warehouse. What is a warehouse? What is the purpose of a warehouse? It should protect and keep stuff. So at the minimum level of requirement that the material or the stuff has. So it can be in any different appearance. It goes even up to that level that these are buildings extremely high. Like this one, for example, it's the same. It's a racking with pallets inside, but it goes extremely high into the sky. Why do you think this one happened, for example?
Because it's cheaper to go up than to
In this case, it's cheaper because the plot, for example, is very expensive. Yes, yes, exactly. The costs. The costs are always determining the way how, in our case, internal logistics and warehouse look like. This is an example of, I don't know how tall this one is, but those can go up to 30, 40 meter high, which is really high. So and the complete logic behind how it's constructed is changing, because these are then racks, which are just covered with the skin. Yeah? It's not a building, and racks are built in, but these are racks and then covered, and then operated mainly automatic. Yeah? Because a human being will not be able to operate this in this optimal way that a machine. By the way, in the warehouse, in all movements that are happening, the movement up is the slowest one, and by far the most expensive. It consumes the most of energy. Why? Because of the gravity. Yeah? Moving just like this, it's relatively easily, but moving up is the most time-consuming and energy-consuming, of course, electricity. So machines are able to calculate the optimal way of how they drive parallel and move up in the optimal share of ways, let's say. Yeah. Okay, warehouse. Now we will go into the equipment, so even more into the detail. In the warehouse, we need lots of equipments. Like, for example, what do you? Yes. What else? Yeah, if this is automated, exactly. Yeah. But this is the same equipment like forklifts. It's for moving goods. Yeah.
Do you need any space for ADR freight?
Pardon?
Any space for the ADR freight?
Okay. Very specific. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. But where do we put stuff that is dangerous?
If it is dangerous?
This is ADR, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We have to put it on some place on the floor, for example. But this is not really, we were talking about racks. So racks are one very important main equipment. Then we have also scanners in order to read the material. Then we have printers. Then we have maybe some wrapping machines, maybe some machines for executing value-added services. But what we will focus today is this boring, simple thing, racking. Why? Because it's actually not that easy to equip a warehouse with a rack. This is standard rack, as you know, mainly that is able to take pallets, Euro pallets, EPL1 pallets, actually, because everything is, in logistics, everything is set by rules in terms of standards. Yeah. Why? Because what we said before, supply chain is going around the world. We need common rules. So this pallet is everywhere the same in the world. Otherwise, we will not be able to load a truck that is coming with the stuff that is coming from China. Okay, stuff that is coming from China is going into a container without pallet, because this space that the pallet is taking away is pure money. So Chinese people are putting the boxes directly into the container up to the very limit of the top. But if it's then distributed afterwards all over the world, the pallets are always the same. Yeah.
It has been effective to put the whole freight to the truck.
Yeah, but at some point, manual work is needed to bring the stuff in, and at the end, manual work is needed to put the stuff out of the container. Okay, at the destination of when it goes out, it's cheap, but as soon as it comes to, let's say, Luxembourg, then it's not cheap anymore. Yeah, but they are not thinking, when they're distributing, they are not thinking about this. Yeah. But all the world is facing this, let's say, problem. At the end, when we see the tariffs of the containers, it's still cheaper to put it without a pallet and then to move it onto the pallet afterwards than to transport air, actually, all over the world. So yeah, these are standard racks as you know them, but there is a story behind how they are put into the warehouse. There are several different. I have just 4 of the most frequent one here. What we saw on the picture is this so-called normal pallet rack. How does it operate? It stands like this and can be filled and loaded and unloaded from the side with a forklift, whatever the forklift looks like. But we have more. We have like so-called drive-in racks. What's the difference here? Or why they are existing? What's the advantage towards the other ones? What do you think?
Save the space.
Exactly, the space. Because here we have to have an aisle and then the next rack next to it. Here we can put one pallet to the other. So if we have an issue with the space, we will put a little bit more money into the equipment because those racks are more expensive, for example, to these ones, and also more expensive to operate because the forklift driver in this case has to be more accurate when he's driving in and putting the pallet down. And something else. What about the way of movement? Is there any difference to?
That's not efficient because if you have different type of goods in
Yeah,
pallets,
yeah.
you must change every time the pallet.
Exactly. So we have to have a strategy behind this. It's called the strategy of put away and pick. Here, those racks are built to take in the same kind of material. And then the logic, how it's going in and out, we have 3 types. FIFO, you heard about it, first in, first out. The next one is LIFO, last in, first out. And then FIFO, first expire, first out. So in this case, which one would be applicable? FIFO? LIFO, exactly. The last that. Yes. Yeah. So we can take here material that is independent on the batch. What is a batch? You know what is a batch?
Batch is in the container, yes, also. Batch number.
Yes, but why batch number is existing?
I mean, the back of the goods.
If something is produced, this is mainly in food and in chemicals. Chemicals, if a chemical is produced in a certain amount, let's say 10 tons, it's mixed, it's cooked, it's finished and packed into 20 pallets. It has the same characteristics, and these characteristics are defined by this batch. So if afterwards something happens in the production where this chemical is used, they know that also few other pallets have the same characteristic and cannot be used anymore. Or if it comes into the producing company, they take a sample, they say it's okay. They can also say for the rest of the other pallets that came in because they have the same characteristic. That's the batch number. And this means if we have a material that has batches, we can put here only the same batch number, because otherwise we would need to take the rest out and take the last one, for example, and then put it back. So we are very limited. So the costs of the saved space is limiting us quite a lot in the way how we work. So the logistics manager has to be very, very, very cautious how much of those racks he would like to have, and also be very sure that the decision is right. Cool. Next one, pushback. Looks quite the same like this one. What do you think these were invented?
Racks with the rollers.
Exactly, yeah, they work. Yeah, exactly. Maybe I explain how they work. The pallet is put in and is then pushing the rest of the pallets that are already in the rack back. Push back. Yeah. And when it's taking out, they are slowly rolling towards there. Actually, the main reason, the same reason, like here, to save space. But why we are using once this and once this? These are even more complex, even more expensive, because there are lots of moving stuff inside, but faster to operate with. Here you have to be cautious how you drive in. Here you can just take out, and the rest is happening then afterwards. But again, same, we are only able to use the LIFO system. Again, no batches. If then batches, then the same logic like here. But the advantage is really that we save space, and that we have prepared a certain order. For example, for loading of a truck, we can know that we will put A, B, C, because A will go to destination A, B will go to destination B, and C to C. And we know in which order we build up the truck. The truck builder is in a lot of warehouse management systems, which we will also come to, which is also one equipment, but not hardware, is building trucks, actually. If we have multiple customers on a truck, then they have to be built, so to separate it into the truck. And in this way, we can already separate before that. So the guy who is loading the truck does not have to take care, because it's already prepared. And also, actually, the same with this one, which is a drive-through combination of this one, and this one, of everything. And this one is mainly used, again, to save space, mainly for the case of preparation of the loading of a good that is prepared to be dispatched. So from one side, the pallets are going in, and on the other side, another forklift driver is taking them out and putting it on the train or truck, whatever. So it's fast. Even though they have to be careful, it's much faster than if they would go out of this kind of rack. Plus, it's completely separated. You cannot make mistakes. What is here will be loaded on the truck. So often in logistics and warehousing, you have to do this kind of pokayoke approach. Do you know pokayoke? It's one of the lean, one of the topics in lean. Lean, you know, huh? Yeah, similar. Yeah, pokayoke is like, some people it's not translated, but they say it's like easy as a child would do it. Pokayoke means that you cannot put a square thing into the round thing. It's enabling you. And logistics is often taking this approach, this pokayoke, just to enable mistakes. In this case, we are enabling mistakes. It's impossible to take something that is here, for example, and load it on the truck, which here is completely possible. Even though if you have a scanner, nobody will protect that somebody will not scan and put a false pallet on the truck. Here not. So simple rack, but there is a story behind. And then we have other more complex racking system, like one of those is this one. It's a movable rack where actually all the racks are moved. They are creating an aisle, which can be everywhere. When they're in this aisle, then the forklift driver can drive in. It's not because of the space, I can tell you. What could be the reason that this was invented? Because it's really expensive. These have to be motor-driven, lots of safety rules have to be followed. Why do you think this was invented? It's not about the space, it's going into the third level. It's about the volume. But why volume?
Cubic meters.
Yes, exactly. What could be the trigger behind this? It's about the atmosphere that is in. Cooling. For cooled, for freezed stuff, it's meant for this, because if you have to freeze a lot of air, it's really expensive. Freezing is anyhow expensive, but air is a good isolating material. It's not transporting a lot of energy. So if you have to cool a lot of air, you lose a lot of money. So that's why they invented like almost closed boxes, just that much space that you can drive through. At the end, it's more efficient to buy this really expensive kind of racks, because you save that a lot of energy costs. And logistics is always behind, coming from automotive, with this idea, with this logic, to save as much as possible money. Guess how much costs logistics is causing in the production company from 100%?
1,000 euro per 1 minute.
This is hard. Let's say from 100%. How much percent? 70? 70? Yeah. No, including everything. All the production machines, all the stuff, everything.
Also with people.
Pardon?
Also with people.
Yes.
Almost everything.
Yeah, but if you have a production company.
Yeah, but material is nothing.
It depends on how much is going through.
Can you
70.
repeat the question?
How much of the cost that is causing in logistics overall, not only internal logistics, is of 100% is caused by internal logistics of a production company, of a company that is producing something. 70 is too much. It's full point. Yeah, 30%. Yeah, but this is still a lot. Yeah, material is really not every single piece is not a lot. But the producing company, if it's producing in 3 shifts, that's really a lot that is going through. And the machines are really expensive, but 30% is still a hell of a lot, really. So that's why all the companies are really focused to lower this cost as much as possible, with an approach that we will also talk later. So yeah, that's also why they are inventing things like this, like automated warehouses and other stuff. Would be a break now? Applicable? Yes?
I don't know, do you want to?
Yeah, we can make one, because. Okay, let's just finish with the equipment. Safety?
This is not too much safe.
No. Yeah, but warehouses that are storing clothes are looking like this. It's simple, yeah. Peek and Kloppenburg, Zara, whatever, they are storing their clothes like this. Maybe higher and maybe automated, but like this. Sometimes the easiest way is really the most efficient. But racking can look like really different. For smaller stuff, in terms of shelves, replacement parts, dangerous goods, yeah, very important. Yeah, if some stuff is dangerous, we have to ensure that it will not harm the environment. So we have to put special shelves that can contain if a spill is happening, or if we have stuff that is easily inflammable or even explode, it can explode. We have to put in special drawers that are enabling, if a fire occurs, that it spreads out, that the doors are closing. So we have to take also care about this. Or in bigger terms, we have to put bigger containers below. Just as information, if a warehouse is storing dangerous goods that can spill, so liquid form, the container has to be as big that it can take the amount of 2 biggest containers that are on it. So in this case, 2 barrels. This is the rule more or less everywhere in the world. So I think now, yeah, okay, last one, yeah. If we are storing really special stuff like long, heavy heavy-duty stuff. We have racks. I think they are called. I forgot how they are called in English. Console, I think. So even for this, stuff was invented. So logistics is really, really productive in inventing the most efficient way how to store things. And now I think we can make the break. Let's talk a bit about what is happening in a warehouse. Sounds not that much because stuff is lying mainly there. That's the main part, but not the most important part actually. It starts with the good that is coming in. So the goods is received, but that's not all. What is happening? Checks. Checks in terms of quality and in terms of quantity. Because if you do a mistake at the beginning, when stuff is coming into the warehouse, you will never ever correct it. Because if you say material A, you are B, and not 500 but 1,000, then you will think that you have 1,000 pieces of B in your warehouse, and you don't. And you will find out when it's going out. But not when it's going out when you see it, because you will scan this, but when the customer gets the stuff and is very angry that he got the very wrong stuff. So the most important part is the inbound, where really high accuracy is needed. So checking of the quantity, the quality. Pardon?
Kanbans. In mass checking, if we have all Kanbans, if we have in the automotive,
Yeah.
Kanban is one part of the price.
Yes, it is. It is. Also in the production phase, yeah. So that's why strict rules has to be applied at the inbound, and more or less the best skills workers should be there. It has to be fast. The unloading of a truck, mainly trucks, has to be done fast because he would like to go, and that you free the space in front of the warehouse where this inbound procedure, the receiving procedure is happening. And then the put away starts. What is the put away? To bring the stuff into the racks, mainly racks, or the space where it's stored. And then it stays there. But also the put away is not that easy. Why? For example, it's dependent on the weight of the good. If it's very heavy, it will not be on the very top of the rack. Logical. It could be, but then the rack will be extremely strong and expensive, which logistics don't want to go over this 30%. Depends also on the height of the pallet, let's say. High pallets cannot fit into the small window, it's called in the rack. So these are the first two. Then we have so-called high runners, low runners, slow movers, and something in between. This is analyzed frequently by the so-called ABC analyze. It's not activity-based cost like you're used to, but A are fast runners, B are somewhere in the middle, and C very, very slowly moving stuff in and out. But this depends on the warehouse itself. At some warehouses, stuff that is going in and out every day can be A. In the other warehouse, it's like every month, it's still A. So it depends on the frequency on the stuff that is in the certain warehouse. So why am I talking about this ABC? Fast movers will be somewhere in the front and at the bottom, and C1s somewhere in the back and at the top. Because why the top? Lifting is the slowest process in the warehouse. And this is done, this ABC analysis is done then in a frequent way, so also internal moves are then done. So some article becomes from a fast mover to slow mover because it's going out of the program of the production of the company selling or producing it, so it has to be moved from somewhere in the front to the back. So the put away is actually very complex. Who is deciding where to put it? Not the humans, of course not, because it would be too much. The warehouse management system, and it has to calculate all this stuff. Then we also coming to dangerous goods, which have to be separated somewhere else. Batch-driven material, which has to be also treated differently. If we have food in the warehouse, then we have to take care also about this one that is some other place. And several different other, maybe some rules about the climate, that it has to be cooled down, or that it does not have, that should not be in humidity, and then we have separate spaces for this, and so on and so on. So the put away is very complex. And then comes the boring stuff, it stays there, nothing happens. And then suddenly we need products out. So the picking starts. So we have to take the goods out. This can be done either by the same amount as it came in. So storing unit, everything that is stored in the warehouse is called storing unit. So one pallet full can come in and get out in the same way, or it can be commissioned. So it can be piece picked. We go in, pick few pieces, go out, and prepare a shipment. This operation is the most difficult one in the process of the movements in the warehouse, and takes the most time. The lifting is from the moving, the inefficient one. But what takes the most of the time in the warehouse is the picking. We will come back also to this. What happens there? We have to pack it. Exactly, yeah. We can also pack, if it's really piece-picked by a piece out of a box, then this also have to be packed in the box and then on the pallet and wrapped. Scale, why? Because to check if the right amount is there. The warehouse management system knows how much should this be, so this is the double check. Then comes the dispatching. We have to prepare a lot of documents, sometimes not only on paper, but also digital. If it goes overseas in different countries, where also documents for tariffs and so on has to be prepared. So this is, yes, exactly, yeah. If we are moving dangerous goods, also this is special. This has special documents has to be.
Dangerous goods documents.
Yes, and this is ADR. ADR is mainly talking about moving of dangerous goods. For warehousing, ADR is not so. It's not actually applying. Then comes the shipping, so we have to load it because we are responsible. Depends on the Incoterm. But until the edge of the vehicle, we are responsible for the stuff. And we have to hand over the documents and the stuff in the right way. But, and then it's gone, yeah? But we have several different other services that can occur in the warehouse. Kitting is one of these. We could have different semi-products, and then we build up not a finished product as one product, but a set of products, a set out of semi-finished products. Yeah? So this is called also kitting. It's not that easy because it's like a prolonged production phase, yeah? But it's happening often in the warehouse. Why? Because maybe some of these pieces, some of these components are used in several different end products. And you never know when you need and how much you need. So it's easier to make this in the warehouse because it's there. And then you can just ship out. But this process, and also the value-added process we will come to, is compared to the inbound, the next level. Yeah? So in terms of complexity. Casing, yeah, okay, this is not that complex, but it takes a lot of room, actually, and also time. So to put things in a case, special case, to combine it into a case, but this is also happening, of course, in the warehouse. very important, we would like to know what we have, where we have it, and how much we have it, because we are responsible. If it's our warehouse as a production company, we are responsible. If we are executing this service as a service provider, even more. So we have to take care all the time about the inventory tracking, and at least once per year, we have to do the inventory check, which means we have to count everything. Yeah, this is one possibility. Warehouse management systems are also enabling that during the year, you count. That the system says, check all the empty places. And then you go there, and you see empty place, yes, I confirm. And by this, you checked this space. So it's much more efficient. So also there, logistics went to the very edge. You're not counting everything, but at the end, you made a complete inventory check. If one product was not in scope at the time, you have to check at the end of the year or somewhere in the year only those few. So again, a really gain of time, because inventory checks, you don't earn anything on inventory checks. If you're a service provider offering warehousing, you're not paid by the customers for doing the check, because it's just internal. It's not going out or in. You're paid for stuff that is coming in, that is lying there and going out. For this, you have a tariff, but not for the inventory check. So you would like to have it as fast and as efficient as possible. And completely the same like the inbound, accuracy, very important. If you don't check well, you will never know what you have. And again, the mistake will appear at the customer. Value-added services is something similar to the kitting, but even more complex. What is meant behind this? Maybe set building, yeah. Stickering of some material, promo stickering, any marketing activities, adding some promo stuff to the products, maybe combining products together with a sleeve to wrap it, to add certain quality to the product is also possible. So really, this is then we are calling it almost production. It's really this prolonged hand of the production into the warehouse. Same reason like before for the kitting, because it's there. We never know how much we will need it, so we just take it out, prepare it, and it's going out. It's taking a lot of space, depends. The value-added service is usually executed somewhere in the front of the warehouse. The front always, how does a warehouse, I don't have any layout, but a warehouse usually looks like that at the front are docks, where stuff is coming in and unloaded, then an area, commissioning area, preparation area, outbound, inbound area without racks, and then the racks are coming. So this is the most efficient way. So the value-added service usually is above this inbound area. It's on the mezzanine often, because to use the space. We have the volume, because it's more or less a cube, the warehouse. The racking is filling up the rest, but in front, it's more or less the space above, it's free. So the mezzanines are using this free space, and the value-added service is executed there. You have to lift it up, sure, slowly and expensive, but you use a lot of space. To put in a mezzanine is much more cost efficient than to build more space on the ground. Also, all the offices are on mezzanines above this area of in and outbound. So again, using as much as possible out of the space. What else? If we are sending things out and we make a mistake, we will get it back. Returns, so in this case, or if we are a service provider, or if we are internet selling company, we will get a lot of returns. I think it's like 30% is coming back because people are sending it back or are not taking it over. So returns are in a warehouse, yeah?
So returns is same like claims?
If a claim leads to a return, then yes. You can claim it, but keep it. yeah, with a discount. If you send it back, then it, yeah. A return is everything that is coming back, that was not in the warehouse before, but is coming back. And it's by far the most expensive process. Why? Because it's completely out of the normal, usual way. Yeah? It's coming without any announcement. It's coming weird packed, not as it should be normally, because it was somehow at some time unpacked, and then they saw, it's not the right way, it's not the right stuff, we will send it back. It's coming in weird times, not in the usual ones that suppliers are delivering. It's coming also in not usual amounts, because maybe only a few pieces were wrongly distributed. So people have to, and then people have to take care. It's not equipped with any barcodes for scanning. You have to check it. What is it actually? This is really time-consuming. And then you find out, the reason is a claim, for example. The stuff is not usable anymore. We have to handle it somehow. Then you have to have a special way in the warehouse to mark it in the system, and then to also put it somewhere away where it's not reachable so easily. So it's really, really, really expensive. So warehouses would like to avoid returns, but they cannot. Stuff has to come back if it has to. And then we are coming to the it is a process. Nothing is done there, but reporting and analytics is important. What I said before, this ABC analyze, that we do a continuous improvement all the time. Also coming from lean, a warehouse has to be improved all the time. Otherwise, it will not be efficient. If we are a service provider for third parties as a warehouse service provider, we have to do this almost on a weekly basis. But not too often, because when we do an analyze that we have to move internally something, this is causing a lot of costs, which is not paid. So we move stuff only internally when we see a positive effect out of this. So the warehouse manager has to be really skilled and he has to have a good feeling when to do something based on KPIs. And KPIs are coming out of the reporting. So he has to have few KPIs, really reliable ones, telling a lot, and deciding, and he has to decide on the right time when to do something, when to change something. Even then, if he decides to change something, maybe he does not have, or she, whatever, he does not have the capacities, because the staff and the equipment is occupied by the regular service. So he has to find really the free spots in between, not him, but the system does. He says, I would like to move 100 pallets A to C, and the system distributes it into the free slots in the whole process of the warehouse. So again, optimization of this additional process. So like I said, the commissioning part is the most time-consuming and from the perspective of doing a mistake, most dangerous one. So we will shortly touch also this. That's why so-called strategies were invented. When you will see it, it will be obvious. But almost everything that happens in a warehouse has a logic behind. People don't have to think about this. System is doing everything. Somebody set up the system based on data before, and also the strategies were set based on the data. What are the strategies of the picking, of the commissioning? That's the layout of a warehouse. These are the rackings. Can you imagine? So I'm looking from the top. And we would like to collect all these blue marked places. One of the strategies is the so-called S shape. It's obvious why, because we start at some point, go in, pick, 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 go back, pick, 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 and so we make S's. At one point, we collected everything, going back. We have everything, we can go back. system does not really have to lead us, but still it's needed because it tells us where to stop and where to pick and how much to pick. And we are confirming there. Doesn't look really efficient, right? Yeah. For small warehouses where very expensive WMS, warehouse management system, would be too much, it would be applicable. Yeah? Some warehouses are using it. So it's not that bad, but it's not the most efficient one. Next one, so-called midpoint. We divide a warehouse into two halves, and we go in, and then we move just to the next one, which is not above the mid. Yeah? And go back, the same, and you see all this clear space without these lines is the saved way. So it was shorter ways, ergo less time, quicker picking, less costs. So the midpoint strategy is much more efficient. Next one is the return. It's similar to the mid, but imagine we have a warehouse where behind here is a wall, so we cannot turn, because we would like to fit as much as possible in, because the aisle in the front or in the back is taking space, which we have to pay, either for rent or as an investment. So this one is going like this. We go in and pick and go in as far as the last places where we have to pick, and we're doing the same. Still, it's better than the previous one, this S one, where we are going in and out the complete way because we are saving a little bit of space. The so-called largest cap strategy, the warehouse has to be enabled also to get in and out from both sides. Similar to the mid, but a little bit more efficient because it's going in and just until the shortest way. So the system calculates what is the shortest way. It will not go until, for example, until, where is such an example? There should be some blue spots. It will not go until here and then back, if here would be one, but until the first one that is the closest.
Only the blue ones, not more driving.
Yes, exactly. So the space here is a little bit more than it was before at the middle ones. Yeah? So again, more efficient. So which one should a warehouse use?
The largest.
Yes. Exactly. The answer is all of those, a combination of all of those. And it takes the parts of each of the one that fits the most. And on the certain point of a day, if it's a peak that a lot of things are going on, then it chooses the right one. But a warehouse where only one forklift or guys going around is almost a dream. It's impossible. Several different forklift operators are running around. So the system has to take care also about those one. So it has to calculate and adapt the strategy knowing that person A will go here, person B will go here, person C and D who are bringing stuff in with also a strategy behind for the put away are in. So it calculates everything to combine everything to the most perfect result where somebody should be and when somebody should be. So it could be that person A is going like here, picks up to here, but it's not going in here or here, but here. Because another one is doing something here in this place, which is more important, that has to go out sooner. Yeah?
Yes, but if you use the two forklifts, so you must use the more expensive ways because you use both peoples, and the next
Yes.
people can make any other work.
Yes. At some point, by designing a warehouse, you have to decide how much equipment and how much stuff. Yeah. And this is the very, 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 very hard part, because you have to have data. You have to rely on the data, and if something is changing, you have to be able to adapt this. You have to be flexible. What is the most efficient way to be flexible? We will talk in a few minutes. But yes, the more data you have, the better you can plan. And with the reporting and analytics that we said before, you have to be all the time on the highest level of knowledge to be able to adapt it. Yeah? You can take additional forklifts and also people, and you can also give it away. Yeah? Rent or buy, rent also people. This is also possible. But this, what I wanted to tell you is that the system is taking all this into consideration. You can add also to the system additional forklift and a driver, and then it adapts again. So this system is doing all this stuff, and it has to be more or less live. You cannot wait, scan and wait that it calculates. And in addition, it also combines not only the commissioning, but also the put away. So a driver that goes in and picks stuff can also put away stuff. So he takes something, goes in, and the system knows that he has to put something away here, pick something here, put something away here. So he has to take also something with him, put it away, and also pick. So this is the most efficient way. Okay. And now we will come to the most efficient way how to handle internal logistics. So we will talk about the outsourcing. So what we are doing. This is our existence, why our company is there. Because a lot of companies are putting these services to third parties, to specialized companies that are executing either all logistics, internal logistics, or part of this. But why they are doing this? We will go through this. And one of the answers is for sure money. First, it's the so-called variabilization of fixed costs. What do you think? What is behind this? It sounds, wow, very sophisticated. What could be fixed costs in internal logistics? What are fixed costs, actually? If you have a long-term contract, the rent is also fixed cost, yeah?
And you have also the fixed cost with the suppliers for and if right, if you buying or
if we are talking about logistics, we are talking about just moving and storing stuff, not owning the stuff. Yeah? Fixed costs in internal logistics, yeah? Equipment. Yeah? We have to buy it. We have to build a warehouse. This is a huge fixed cost because we have it in the books. We have to write it off during the years, 10, 20, 30, up to 30. This is possible. Forklifts we have to buy. People we have to employ. This is everything. Okay, people we can take and take and leave, but we will not do this long. But they are somehow flexible. But equipment is often not flexible. This means it's fixed. So why an outsourcing of this service? Yeah?
I thought that logistics is the whole supply chain.
Yeah.
So how can you mean only the warehouse? Because when I imagine, for example, the production, there are like many things included in the logistics.
Yeah.
So why you mean only the warehouse?
Warehouse is one of the biggest fixed costs in the logistics because it's a building that is mainly or almost exclusively meant for storing stuff. you cannot put in production, for example. Production has to have several different connections with water, steam, electricity, and so on. So a warehouse, in terms of this, is very stiff. Yeah, logistics, yeah, but if you take a plane, a truck, whatever, this is also meant only for transport something. So it's really not very flexible. But the most unflexible part are buildings, yeah, are assets in this case. That's why. Okay? So what is the advantage here? If somebody else is taking over parts of the logistics, let's focus on internal logistics. Yeah? So I'm a producing company, making a contract with a third party who is executing all my internal logistics. Means they have to provide a warehouse. Means I don't have to provide a warehouse. I don't have to invest into the warehouse. I don't have to depreciate it. I have to have it into my books. Same with forklifts. Same with employees working in the internal logistics. And I can decide for each moved pallet, for each stored pallet, I have a rate of X euro or whatever. And I'm paying only this. And if I have a fluctuation, and this we will come later to, I know how much I have to pay. And I'm paying only this. I don't need, and I can decide that it is on any unit I would like to have it.
Okay, you pay like package.
Exactly, yeah.
Same like
I have.
vehicles and also.
Exactly, yeah. But I, as a service provider, then have to take care that I execute this service as efficiently as possible. And I can, depending on what I'm producing, I can also, if I'm a brewery, I can say it on hectoliter. Or if I produce flour, I can say on kilo or ton, whatever. So it's more convenient for me to calculate afterwards, because I have a unit that I'm used to use it. So this is the variabilization. So we have somewhere fixed costs, but we variable them with our production and our amount that we are using it, actually. Next advantage is the planning. Same, more or less the same like before. If I have own employees, own equipment, I have to buy it. I have to have it all the time. At some point, I decide, like we said before, for the 2 or 3 forklifts, I buy 3 forklifts. And then the demand on the market drops. I still have 3 forklifts. I have to pay them, rent them. Maybe staff, the forklift drivers, I can fire 2 of them. But if I do this, they will not come anymore because of the demographic development. So I'm actually not really flexible. I cannot plan. Yeah? I have this block of costs all the time, but the amount of my selling, of my production might vary. So I cannot plan. If I say to a service provider, do it for me, yeah, I can plan. I can assume we will produce 1 million of pieces of this, and per piece I have this amount of costs, and not more and not less. It will be always the same. And if the plan changes in between, yeah, that I have to produce 2 millions, I don't have to take care if I will be able to have enough space in my warehouse, if I will find employees and forklifts that fast. I know that certain amount will again appear. So my planning about everything, not only the equipment, also the energy, is always on 1 piece, kilo, whatever. So I can plan really, really, really good. 1 big block falls away. How much? 30%. Quite a lot, 1/3 in average. We talked about the investments. For a lot of companies, KPIs are very important, and investments are affecting lots of financial KPIs in a very, very, very high way. Especially companies that are on the stock market. They have to provide on quota base KPIs. By this, they are more or less greenwashing, let's say, some kind of greenwashing or hiding, because the cost is there. If you have a long-term contract with a service provider, it's more or less the same, because you will somehow pay his equipment off. But in the KPI, you don't have it. Yeah? You don't have the employees. Yeah? The head counts, you have much less, because all the employees taking care of the logistics, you don't employ them. Yeah? On the paper, it looks much better. And also about the equipment, yeah? That you have to ensure, for example, all the risk that is.
And repair also.
Yeah, definitely. And this is then in the risk. This is not the next one, but the one that is coming after. Too long? Now we are going to the. I think we have 2 slides more. Yeah. Next advantage is the know-how. Why? Why the know-how? And efficiency, of course. If I'm a service provider executing logistics services for several different customers with different approaches, different products, I can learn from them. And I learn from customer A something and can implement on B, C, and D. If I'm producing company and executing logistics only for me, I maybe can attend some forums where we exchange knowledge, but it's not the same. Service provider sees it all the time and is also driven by the cost. He would like to earn as much as possible, so he implements these innovations immediately. That's why he's also more efficient. If he's more efficient, he will get additional customers because he can prove that he is good at what he's doing. So this is a big advantage. And the risk, like you said, of damages is completely at the service provider, but not only damages. Injuries, the fluctuation itself. The service provider takes the complete risk of any drop or sudden increase of the production. He has to take care how to handle the additional value or the missing value. And safety is also very important. And I think, okay, this is the really last one, about what can be outsourced in an internal production. We started before with the internal production, so we should also end. At the very beginning, everything that is coming in can be done by an external one. So nobody from our company who we are hiring an external one has to be anyhow involved in the system of the customer, with the equipment of the customer, with the of the service provider, with the people of the service provider, but inside of the production facility of us. Then the stuff is somehow prepared in smaller boxes or in trays to be distributed. All the scanning, all the booking is also was done by the external one. Then it's distributed, going to the several machines. Then the production starts. Maybe semi-finished products, and then again distributed by the service provider to the next one. So you see, only a few spots are still gray. A lot of what is doing as external service provider is covered by him. Like we said, 30%. As soon as the production is finished, the company is again free. We take it over, or the service provider takes it over, packs it, labels it, takes care about all the documentation, prepares the shipment, loads the trucks or the trains, whatever, and it goes out. If there is a need of additional warehouse in terms of external warehouse, also the shuttle transport can be executed by this service provider with his trucks or with his drivers. So also there, the customer does not have to take care. And in the meantime, when the production is running, also waste is occurring. Of course, foil, paper, wood, whatever. If the people that are supplying the machines are already there, it's logic that they take the waste and bring it out. So again, efficiency improvement, which is then rounding up the complete circle. So this is the highest level of executing internal logistics with an external service provider. And I think that's it. So, any questions? No? So that's clear. That means that I was
Successful in explaining it.
yeah, somehow, yeah. Thanks for listening. Thank you.
Thank you.